Hey, welcome to you and welcome to your reading. All right, so I've had this reading building up for probably the last 24 hours. I am very much so looking forward to it, but I have a few messages coming in from Spirit, which I'm going to give to you and kind of share with you in just a few moments. Welcome to you if you are new here. I have gone ahead and placed a spiritual quarantine for this reading. That quarantine will be in effect until the end of this reading, which will support in ensuring the message is delivered to you with the full integrity of what is here. I will let you know at the end of this reading when that spiritual quarantine comes down, but you may notice that for some of you who are spiritually sensitive. And again, so happy to have you here. All right, so I have a few messages that were coming in from Spirit, so I want to share those with you, and then we're going to pull from my deck of topic cards and kind of build out on this reading a little bit more. But Spirit is saying there's something you're going through, or something that this actually feels a bit predictive, something that you will be going through, or some of you, a couple of you are in this energy right now. But for those of you who are not, there's something that will be upcoming that Spirit is trying to say, like, for you not to intervene in. So I don't know the full extent of what that means, but they're saying there's something here around, like, don't cause interference into this situation. Like, by you intervening, it does seem to kind of add some interference that otherwise wouldn't be there for these people or for this situation that may be happening outside of you. Okay, they're also saying this phrase here. They're saying, be still like the water during a lazy summer day. So be still like the water during a lazy summer day, which feels relevant to that kind of don't intervene part of the message. But they also have something else deeper to say to that. It feels like there is a call here for you to notice your rest. So when you're not taking it, to obviously notice that, which I think you're already somewhat aware of, but they actually want to bring your attention to and bring your awareness to your own rest. So they're saying something here around, like, noticing the quality of the rest that you're getting right now. They really want you to have a focus on that, like actually notice it, like notice it when you're going to move into the kind of action of resting or the experience of resting. Notice what it feels like as you're moving out of it. They really want you to, like, notice the quality of that rest. That feels really strong and really important here. And they're saying for you to take, when needed, for you to take active rest and to be in the process of actively resting. Because they're saying here, this is a really interesting part of this message, but they're saying here that resting is an action too, okay? They want to dispel a little bit of I don't know, the way that rest is framed right now for, I don't know, just a lot of us or within kind of society or social media. They're actually saying here that rest is not the opposite of action. Yeah, they're saying rest is not the opposite of action. Death is. And so there's something here around, like, rest is an action too. And it is important that you are taking it. It is important that you are noticing your rest. Yes, they're saying actually that action is awareness. Action, like, they're showing me, like, the word action equals awareness. And so there's something around, like, again, becoming aware of your rest, and that there's still an awareness even to resting, which is the quality of being in action, of being, like, there's some sort of link here around, like, being alive. Resting is still being alive, but it's a loose one. They're being very clear here that there's something around, again, rest is still an action, and action is awareness. and want your awareness to be full of rest, and to be full of like physical movement or movements, they're saying. Movements actually of any sort, they're saying. It doesn't have to be physical because we are multidimensional beings. They're saying action actually exists in many forms. It exists in emotional, it exists in spiritual, it exists in, they're saying, quantum levels that we don't see. So there's actually, they're saying here, the act of awareness, or your awareness itself, which is you just being alive and being here, okay, rest is a part of that. And so they want to make sure you are adding that dimension to your own experience of living your life, and that you are bringing more conscious awareness to it than you already are, because there's already a part of you that is aware of it just from being here. Is that it? Okay, so I don't know what all that means. I've never channeled that before, but they wanted to kind of, again, come in and kind of reframe some of the way you're thinking about rest, and that rest is an action too. And rest, it should be aware, and it should be part of your awareness, actually, your active awareness. Yes. Okay, so let's go deeper into this message. Like, ooh, all right, so some rest, and noticing that rest may be part of what's needed here. Do you want these cards? You want this card? That one? That's it. Okay, so interesting, because I think we kind of started off, this is the one they wanted to pull. Yeah, relationships. I think we started off, opened up into this energy talking about don't intervene in a situation. I do feel like for a section of you here, Spirit is actually trying to communicate, not intervening. This is probably for a smaller section of you, but don't interfere in a relationship, or intervene rather, in a relationship outside of yourself where there may be some friction happening. They're saying that it will cause additional friction, but additional sort of processing that's needed if you get involved. Also, they're communicating here, again, be still like the water. Be still like the water. That's actually not yours to manage or to get in the middle of. Okay, so that's definitely part of this message here. Keep going. Okay, let's go have a little bit more. Okay, so don't intervene. What else? There's something about being still, there's something about rest, there's something about relationships. How does this all connect? Okay, this is coming in reverse. It says pine tree, it says vitality, longevity, it says perseverance. Okay, so they're actually, the part of this card they're bringing forward is the perseverance here, and they're bringing it in reverse, and they're saying, again, they're trying to make you aware of, there's a part of yourself that is like really trying to, it's not like aggressive, but it almost feels like it. I feel like that word's a little strong to use with this, but it feels like kind of pushy. And Spirit is trying to like bring your awareness to this part of yourself that's kind of pushing you into intervening in something, in a relationship or connection, or the friction within a relationship, or whatever is happening outside of you. This could be within a person, place, or thing. It could be like even within like a work dynamic or something, okay? But Spirit is trying to say here, with this perseverance in reverse, like again, just notice where you are trying to pursue something that is not within the realms of what you need to be involved in. And to notice that push, and for you to give some support and maybe love to that part of yourself that feels, there's almost like a responsibility here, like you feel a responsibility to get involved. Yes, that's the word, responsibility. Okay, that word is really strong here. And they're saying that's actually not yours. Now you might feel like it is based on your own kind of positioning within this, okay? This could be potentially, like, for instance, I have another example coming through. You could be seeing either a relationship dynamic outside of you that you want to get involved in, like maybe, for instance, this is between your friend and their partner, and you want to, and maybe you're friends with both of them and wanting to get involved. So that's one example that is here. Another example coming through is like you could be actually in this relationship directly. So maybe it's you and another person, and feeling like you need to intervene into their life in order to fix, I'm hearing fix something, to fix something. Yes, Spirit doesn't want you in this fixer mode, definitely doesn't want you there, and also wants you to be aware of the part of yourself that is trying to, they're saying, swoop in and fix this. What does that part actually mean? What does that part actually want? Okay, and why is this push and urge being imprinted within this situation and onto someone else's fate or destiny or karma in terms of life lessons that they need to learn? Okay, not a bad thing, okay? But there are certain experiences we all have to go through. And so they're saying here, like, this wanting to fix it is actually a part of yourself. Again, that feeling responsible for fixing it is actually a part of yourself. When that person does not need to be person, place, or thing, does not need to be the recipient of it. This is actually, they're saying here, they're showing me the 7 of Swords. This is actually an illusion. This is actually an illusion that you are projecting onto this person, place, or thing that they need your help at all. Okay, so we're gonna go deeper into that because that feels loaded. Spirit, is there anything going well in this energy? Is there anything going well? You're saying yes. You want this deck? What's going well within this energy? Because I'm sensing a buildup here. I am definitely sensing a buildup. This card. Did we not get the 4 of Swords, the card of rest? Okay, so this is what they're saying, that as, okay, so a couple things. They're saying here, as a result of this reading, this is the energy they want you in. It also feels like for some of you, this reading puts you into that energy of rest where it's needed. Okay, so that way, again, you can find that equilibrium, that balance point within yourself where you don't feel like you have to get up off this proverbial bed here and do something about it. There's something here around the way this person's hands are in sort of a like gratitude prayer position here. Spirit is saying it's a level of surrender, of knowing that Spirit will handle it. And they're actually confirming it will be handled, okay? By that person's spirit, that person, place, or thing's spirit, or the spiritual energy that that thing carries, okay? Or that person carries, okay? So yeah, they're saying here, like, allow Spirit to work. That is not something that you need to take control of, nor anything that you should feel like you have to get out of the metaphorical bed for, okay? You will have your own, they're showing the swords here. On the wall, they're saying you have your own experiences that you have to live and your own kind of problems to fix, okay? There is no need to, which they're saying actually aren't problems at all, okay? It's just part of the experience, part of your life experience, okay? But they're saying you have your own swords to carry. There is no need to try to use one of yours for someone else's situation, as if you could cut something out for that other person, or remove it or fix it, or do some sort of like, it's coming through as like a surgery, like again, a fix it, like I need to fix it. So they're saying there's no need to actually do any of that. In fact, they're saying that these are tools that are meant for you to have for your own journey. They're not necessarily meant for someone else. But that's the kind of imagery that I'm seeing here that they're showing me in my mind's eye. It's almost like what you've been doing is when you know, within this connection, relationship, dynamic, whatever it is, whenever some sort of friction comes up, I'm seeing you get up out of the bed and take this sword off your bed here and start to like kind of go into the situation with the sword. And Spirit's saying that is not necessary. They want you to relax into the faith of knowing that it will be handled and it will be covered and it will be fixed of its own accord. Okay, there's nothing you need to do to get in the middle of this. Okay, and so they really want you in that element of, there's a surrender here, there's an element of trust, of trusting it will be managed, but also even important to this, do you hear all that? Yeah, more important to this is you drawing back, because I'm hearing the kind of like, this is almost like mirroring a relationship out here. I don't know if you hear the people like talking. Yes, those are my neighbors. Okay, and so, yeah, so it's coming through as like, again, friction that's happening. But Spirit is trying to say like, it's almost like drawing back your energy completely and not at all being invested in the idea here that it is your responsibility, because it's not. The only person you are responsible to is yourself. Okay, 1 second here. Okay, great. So I had another message just come in while I was on that pause there, because I wanted to let that kind of noise die down. But actually that was a specific message for someone coming through here. So here is the scene Spirit kind of dropped me into very quickly, which you just saw. Okay, so for someone, it's almost like maybe you're living, the example they're giving me here is like, maybe you're in a living situation where you are living with more than one person, and they're showing me an image here of like you being in your room on your bed here and hearing like this type of noise outside of maybe your bedroom door. Okay, and it's almost like you lay there trying to rest, but there's an energy of like, I don't know what to do. Do I get involved? This sounds really loud. Or again, there's just other things happening outside or in the rest of your home or the rest of this space. Okay, and it's almost like going into prayer mode here around like, almost, I'm hearing like, please, can I get some rest? And also like, can this be handled? Can someone take care of this? Okay, so that is another specific part of this message. What do you have to say about this? Hold on. I need to deliver this for someone here. There's a specific part of this message coming through for someone. Okay, 9 of Wands. Yeah, so we see that. One more. Okay, hold on. I have part of this message. Someone really needs to have this. Hold on. This card. And the Sun. Interesting. So what do you want them to do? Interesting. They just keep saying like, know that it's being, it will be, and it is being taken care of, but it's almost like this. It's so interesting. This 9 of Wands is coming through as like the door or the wall or the barrier between. It's coming through as boundaried, which feels right. There's some sort of like leaning into your own sense of light, your own sense of spaciousness here with the Sun. This is also coming in as source energy, like the Sun is the source of light. Okay, and so it's something around like, again, Spirit is with you. That is very clear through the Sun energy. Spirit is with you through this. And I just keep hearing it's actually okay. It's actually okay. Eight of Swords in reverse. I'm just hearing it will release itself or ease itself up momentarily. Okay, I don't know what that means. That's a very specific part of this message for someone. It kind of just like came in. Yeah, it will ease itself up momentarily. That's all they're saying. They don't want to specify time. They actually just want to say the word momentarily to you. So I hope that hits where it needs to for you. Okay, so let's get back to this because, again, that was for someone specific here. They just needed you to have that. But it feels like for all of you, again, coming into this element of rest feels really, really strong, and understanding that this seeking to fix it is actually not yours to carry at all. It does not matter which situation you're in. Like, this is actually the energy Spirit wants you in, even though right now you're finding yourself in the Four of Swords in reverse, which is like, there's a kind of like jumping out of bed and wanting to fix it. And Spirit's saying, no, there's something around like deepening into the trust and the faith and the surrender that it will be taken care of. It will play out the way it needs to. It's almost like, there's almost an energy here of like unattaching yourself. I'm seeing the sword off this card being used to almost like detach yourself in a way from feeling like you need to get involved. Okay, and that's actually, they're saying how you get real rest. Now that's not saying if there's something like an emergency situation. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the like, the ways that we as humans can project into a situation where we say, oh, I need to get in there and fix this for this person, when that's not actually the case. Spirit doesn't want you to do this. Wants you to see deeper into that, the part of you that feels like you need to spring into action around this. Because there's something that needs to be seen here. What is it? Okay, first of all, they're saying with the Fool card here, this is coming out in reverse, they're saying this is a young part of yourself, like a child part of yourself. This is coming through, the Fool in reverse is coming through as like, let me explain this. It's coming through as immature, okay? It's coming through as immature. Now, what that means is it's kind of like, you know, when kids are immature, like that's literally the definition of being immature, like they're not fully developed. Like, yeah, that's that's actually how this is coming in. It's coming in as like, this is a young part of yourself that doesn't have the, yes, maturity, the development, or the adult understanding of what it means to be still and to not take responsibility for everything that happens outside of them, or feel like they need to be reactive to all of the things that happen outside of them, right? Because if you think about a kind of child-parent dynamic in a healthy and mature situation, the adult should be able to stay still and steady even while the child is crying, screaming, temper tantruming, right? The adult remains in that adult, very loving, kind, open, but firm, okay, positioning that is very still and very stable, so that child feels like they're able to express what they need to express, and also know that you are supporting them in regulating. So Spirit is asking you to move into an adult form of inner regulation, which means seeing the child part of yourself that wants to react to this situation and to help them to have their needs met, if that's what it is, to listen to them, to maybe that means, maybe that involves some form of listening for yourself, maybe with a somatic therapist. You need, again, some sort of like holding for that part of yourself, or maybe that means some sort of, again, healing that's needed there. That's definitely what's coming through from Spirit. Or maybe you need another friend to listen to you, like however you get that healing within your own experience, okay? But Spirit's saying, like, don't, again, imprint that and project that onto this situation. when it's just not needed. It's just not needed. It's almost like, they're saying here, like, it's almost like you're creating a storyline where there isn't one. It's almost like, again, the child sees this playing out and creates their own story with their own imagination around it, when Spirit's trying to say that may not be the case of what's actually happening, nor does that need to be added into the situation. So it's important you're holding that part of yourself when that comes in. Okay, what else do you have to say? What else is at the root of this, Spirit? Yeah, they keep pointing back to this like fix it part of yourself. Okay, what else do you have to say about that? Six of Wands. Is this upright? It's a little in reverse as well. Okay. They're saying you are going to have a much gentler experience if, they're giving another analogy here, if you can work with the horse on this, this card, versus allowing them to, it's almost like kind of buck their feet or kind of like act out. Okay, Spirit, that's a really interesting way to explain that, but that's what they're saying. It's almost like you will have, almost like the ride, as if you're riding this horse, the ride will be much smoother if you are able to work with your own parts around this, than try to almost like lend this horse to someone else who they don't, that's not their rider. Again, they keep talking about the projecting into the situation. They're saying it's important that you are on your own journey with your own experience. For some reason, they're showing the way these wands are upright is the same way these swords are upright. Again, it's like manage your own. You have your own challenges, obstacles, metaphorical crosses to bear, okay, and to heal through. And so they're saying you're going to have the most ease and flow in this life and a much smoother journey if you are able to focus on those parts of yourself, the ones that want to kind of outwardly react, versus allowing yourself the true rest that those parts need, that you can give them by being with them, but also moving into that very attentive space of rest. Okay, so they're coming full circle here. So that's actually why they've been, all right, Spirit, that's why they've been talking about noticing your rest, because they're saying through this reading, it's going to give you another layer of attention into your rest, of when also to switch into the action of rest. There it is. Switch into the action of rest when you feel like you need to get involved and go into that fix-it part of yourself. They want you to then switch into the action of rest, actively resting. Okay, so we got right down into the trigger point, like we went right into the first domino, as my mentor calls it, or when the switch flips on. So that's what Spirit's trying to say. When you feel that wanting to switch on, they're saying don't. This is when your attention, your awareness needs to come into that moment where you want to switch into reaction, okay, into action, but a reactive action, okay? And Spirit's saying don't. They want you to notice, and they want you to notice when that happens for you throughout life. And again, my mentor, Emily Waymar, calls it the domino, the first domino of when you start then moving into, oh, I've got to fix it. It's my responsibility. I have to get involved. I have to heal, save, you know, this other person, place, or thing outside of me. And Spirit's saying, just notice when that's starting to get flipped, and wants you to then, instead of moving into action, move into the active, move into actively resting, or the action of rest. Okay, I think we've got there. Okay, so Spirit had some layers. We had to go kind of deep into some of these layers here to get to that kind of point, okay? Is there anything else, Spirit? You want this card? All right, now we are gonna close out with an oracle card in just a moment here, but I'm gonna see if they have one last card for you before we do. Anything else to just bring this home? This card. Huh. That's, yeah. Yep. Those two. Okay. So they gave you, yeah, and surrender. And they gave you surrender. Okay. So they gave you, first of all, surrender, just like we were talking about. Trust your higher self, but also trust in Spirit, okay, to handle this. They gave you protection. It says shield, preserve, conserve. They're actually underlining preserve now. Okay, yeah, we started out talking about perseverance. They're talking about switching perseverance to fix it into preserving your energy. That's it. That's the shift they want you to make here. Yep. Preserve and conserve your energy. This is a form of protecting your own divine karma, as they're saying, which again is not a bad thing. And the ways that Spirit talks about it has nothing to do with good or bad. It talks about karma is the lessons, the cycles of your soul, the evolutions of your soul that you are meant to go through. Okay, so it's almost like protecting your own divine path. And again, the swords you are meant to carry and the swords you are meant to process and the skills you are meant to build for yourself, for your own journey, okay? But again, they are talking about that preserve and conserve that energy for you. Wow, I really like the way that feels. And that was actually the download that wanted to come through this reading for you. So this entire reading has actually been a download for you to turn that switch off on the fix it mode. Okay, I think we got there. All right, anything else, Spirit? All right, so we're gonna pull one last oracle card. I'm gonna see if there's anything else Spirit wants to say here. Okay. Last messages as we're rounding out this. This one? Ooh, I haven't seen this one. It's the first time seeing this one. I like it. Okay. It says the wild rose. It says do it your way. Embrace your uniqueness. They're saying untamed in reverse. They're saying yes and no. Okay. So, okay, they're going back to the horse here. They're pointing out the parts that were untamed. Okay, so that's why they're bringing this card forward. But they, again, embrace your own uniqueness, embrace your own unique fate and destiny, as they're saying. Oh, I really like that energy. And it's gonna feel really good for you to have that energy returned back into you, actually. This is going to feel deeply loving for yourself and loving of others as well. Okay, so this is, let's see, the wild rose. Wow, it's the last one in this book. I have never, okay, I've never read this one. So they're saying here that this is the end of a cycle for you. I got it. Yeah, end of a cycle for you. All right, back of the book. And moving into a new way of being. If someone says that you're not normal, say, thank you. If someone says that what you're doing isn't normal, say, naturally. The wild rose knows that no one rose is the same as another. She doesn't try to bloom in a neat row according to a schedule. She doesn't open and close according to who walks by. She trusts her timing and she blooms with wild abandon. She's resilient. She knows who she is. The wild rose knows her true, unique nature, and she wants you to remember yours too. She knows that what makes you wild makes you free, that it's what kept us contained that's causing us harm, that our diverse, unique nature is what's needed now, more than ever. This card comes with an invitation to do what would make you feel most free, to trust in the very thing that makes you stand out, to realize that you were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to grow in a perfect, cultivated way. You were never meant to bloom in unison with someone else. You were never meant to be captive or controlled. Nature is full of diversity. It is imperative to its survival, and it is to ours too. So be who you came here to be. Express what you came here to express. Sing the song that you came here to sing. Together, the wild ones will be the ones who set us all free. And the rose transmission is, I free myself of what keeps me captive. I allow the unique wildness within me to be free. Wow, that feels really deep. So they had a lot of things coming through here, but I'm just going to channel a couple of these. So they're saying here that realize that you were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to grow in a perfect, cultivated way. So there's something around this pattern that you've had of moving into fix-it mode with this young child part of yourself that actually was something that had been cultivated when you were young. It came out of survival. It was something where whatever situation you were going through, maybe with your caregivers or your family members or people in your community at that time, it was important to your survival that you were making others comfort, others healing, fixing, making it your own responsibility. And so Spirit is trying to say that is not your responsibility anymore. They want you to be free. When they're talking about wild here, they're talking about being free. They want you to be free of this pattern of feeling like you need to, it's almost like expend your energy outwardly on a way of being or a cycle, or again, over giving in some ways for just a few of you here, to something outside of yourself when that's not necessary, okay? For some of you, because there's something coming through really strongly with the feminine nature of this card, we all have feminine energy within us, okay? But it's almost like there's been this expectation, maybe that had been placed on some of you when you were younger, that you were supposed to just get in there and intervene and fix it. And Spirit is saying that, again, by catching this first domino of when that switch wants to flip on, you will move into active rest this time and actually conserve your energy and also restore your energy and your life force. You are able to be your unique self and live out your unique purpose here, okay? But it does require you making that shift into active rest whenever you want to flip that switch, okay? Instead, because that is going to help redirect your energy to what is actually important here and actually important that you are doing here on this earth, okay? So that is actually what they have to say. They're saying, sing your song. Sing your song, but you'll now have the energy as of hopefully this reading and as of noticing that and noticing that first domino moving forward, that you'll be able to restore back into living out your unique story on this earth. All right, well, that concludes our reading. I hope this has been helpful for you. If this reading has been, just feel free to give it a like, or if you feel this tarot channel is resonant for you, feel free to go ahead and subscribe. I am offering personal readings right now, so if you'd like your own personal reading, feel free to check that out in the description box below. I also have a Patreon subscription for those of you who are going through your active healing journey. So I do readings every week for a much smaller group of people, and so you get almost like, they're pretty personal readings, they're really close to it. So if that's something you want to check out, I have my Patreon page listed below if you'd like to see what kind of topics are there. And if you'd like to purchase a reading, there is one-time purchase as well as for the monthly subscription, which is $12 a month, cancel anytime. Okay, I also am offering, I do have a somatic therapy offering right now called Compassionate Depossession. So if you would like support in healing, actually healing and realigning the relationship with that inner child, that's the child part that kind of moves you into this kind of reactive, it's my responsibility to fix it mode. That's actually the work that I do, and we'll actually get that fixed. So, and not fixed, but healed, like your body will move through that process. I simply just hold the space for it to do it. Okay, so if you want to know more about that, that's also in the description box below. Feel free to check that out. But yeah, I hope this reading has been helpful for you. I'm wishing you a lot of active rest and attention and awareness into your rest and into this new movement that you are making, moving forward into being more aligned with yourself and more aligned with your purpose. All right, perfect. Well, I will see you at our next reading. Thanks so much for being here. See ya. Bye for now.